Welcome back, students. I hope you would have spent your free time the way you wanted to, and these times have really changed us. The way we play, the way we work, and the way we learn. But the life moves on, so should we. Now, coming back to your last class of English, I believe that all of you would have done your words and expressions workbook unit 1 till page 13. I think you also would have taken a note of the fun facts given on the right side column or the left side column. They are very good, and lot of learning also happens when we read them carefully. And it also had a lot of grammar, rearranging the sentences and editing the passage. So I believe all of you would have done it. I will send you the solutions tomorrow. Now, next is your listening task. Now, in this, children, I request all of you to keep your book in front of you, or you can have, if you have the printed copy, you can have the in front of you. Read it as I move on. I will be reading that excerpt for you, and you'll be listening as well as reading and then answering the questions that follow. I hope I'm clear. So I'll start. The book is about a college professor, Maury, and one of his students, Mitch Albom, who is also the author of the book. Mitch sees his professor in a television show and he is reminded of a promise he made 16 years ago as a student to keep in touch with him. He comes to know that the professor is stricken with a rare and incurable disease. Mitch travels a long distance to meet him, and after the first meeting, they meet every Tuesday till Maury passes away. After reconnecting with his teacher, Mitch finds himself his teacher's pupil once again. Now, the following two excerpts which I'm going to read have been taken from the book Tuesdays with Maury, written by Mitch Albom. Listen attentively and then answer the questions that follow. I remembered what Maury said during our visit. The culture we have does not make people feel good about themselves, and you have to be strong enough to say, if the culture doesn't work, don't buy it. Maury, true to these words, had developed his own culture long before he got sick. Discussion groups, walks with friends, dancing to his music in the Howard Square Church. He started a project called Greenhouse, where poor people could receive mental health services. He read books to find new ideas for his classes, visited his colleagues, kept up with old students, wrote letters to distant friends. He took more time eating and looking at nature, and wasted no time in front of TV sitcoms or movies of the week. He had created a cocoon of human activities, conversation, interaction, affection, and it filled his life like an overflowing soup bowl. Second excerpt. The last class of my old professor's life took place once a week in his house, by a window in the study, where he could watch a small hibiscus plant shed its pink leaves. The class met on Tuesdays. It began after breakfast. The subject was the meaning of life. It was taught from experience. No grades were given, but there were oral exams each week. You were expected to respond, and you were expected to pose questions of your own. you were also required to perform physical tasks now and then, such as lifting the professor's head to a comfortable spot on the pillow or placing his glasses on the bridge of his nose. Kissing him goodbye earned you extra credit. No books were required, yet many topics were covered, including love, work, community, family, aging, forgiveness, and finally, death. I hope you have listened attentively. Now, please answer the questions that follow. Who is Maury? How did Maury develop his own culture of living? What was the name of the project Maury had started? What was it about? What did human activities mean to Maury? Why was the subject of the class meaning of life? Okay, so you take your time and write the answers. I am sure you will love this. Now, after you have answered the listening skill, we'll come on to speaking skill. Now, students, here you will have to prepare speeches. One is for your school assembly, and based on the thoughts which are given, there are two quotes given by Isaac Asimov and George Orwell. Okay, both are related to your science fiction. Okay, you won't have much of problems writing down. The next one is your own perspective on different alternatives to education. So you've got to organize your speeches nicely. So how do you do this? First, think of some points. You have to jot down some points, the important points which you want to convey both in the class assembly, class presentation and school assembly. And then you have to start. So you can begin your speech either with a quote given or a greeting just to the listeners, and then give a brief outline of the topic of the speech either through a quote or with a touch of humor to gather their attention. And then you can put your existing your views on existing system of education or the use of science and fiction or artificial intelligence, whatever you want, and how the humans are tackling with this problem of technology, or are they finding it beneficial or not. So whatever comes to your mind, you please keep jotting them down. And then whether you feel that home tutoring is good or e-learning is good or the proper schooling, the former schooling system is good, whatever your views are, you have to jot down. And then in the last, you come out with your own personal perspective on the best way of education, what you think, right? And then maybe in the second speech you can end with the difference between a human teacher and a robot. Okay? So these two speeches you will have to prepare. Now remember, you just write them down, and we may take this as a subject enrichment activity of speaking skill when the school reopens, when we meet in person. Okay, we will think about it. So don't just think that we are not going to do anything, I'm not going to prepare it. So keep it, prepare it, write it down, and then when we meet, we will be doing it. Next is your writing. Now, writing a paragraph on each topic which have been given, that there are 3 paragraphs you have to write on 3 different topics. First one is electronic waste and environmental pollution. All of you remember we had last year also we had e-waste collection in our school. I hope all of you remember, and we had also discussed the hazards which it brings. That what is the reason, why are we collecting it? Because disposing it is a big problem. It is creating a huge problem for our environmentalists. So you can easily write about it. It won't take much of your time. The next one is being human in the age of artificial intelligence. Now, this is also, I think, is very close to your heart. Some of you must be pursuing or thinking of pursuing a career in artificial intelligence, right? So, what do you think? Is there a role of humans in the age of artificial intelligence, or if everything will be done by artificial intelligence, what will the humans do? So you have to think about all and then write it. After listening to the excerpts of the ones which I read, do you think a robot should replace the human teacher? Give reasons in support of your answer. I think this also you will find it very easy, because I guess I have given you this as a worksheet on the lesson, the fun they had, if you remember, right? So you won't have any much problems. So if you think that it should be replaced by a human teacher, or if you don't want, then you just say what are the shortcomings if you have only a robot as a teacher and not a human. So just reason out your point. That's it. Next comes your formal letter writing. This is very nice and very interesting, and there is no need for you to take care of the mnemonics because it's already given. You must have seen this, the pattern is already given, the format. Okay, now what are you supposed to do here is, you all know that there is a lot of space debris or space junk, and how do we get the junk in the space? We are sending every now and then, sending satellites after satellites, space shuttles, spacecrafts, and then they become, after some years of use, they become redundant. What happens to that then? What happens to that junk? It keeps on floating in the space, and we all know that sooner or later it may bring some damage to us, to our earth, or even in the space it can collide with any satellite or a spacecraft. Anything can happen, right? So you are really concerned about it, and you think of writing a letter to NASA chief, okay, expressing your concern. So here there are some points given to you. Okay, you can take the help of this, so you can include all this in your as a body of a letter, or if any other point comes to your mind, you can include that also. But see to it that it is very precise and it is very forceful. You should be able to convey your point to the NASA chief, right? So here you all are already given the format, so you only have to fill in the lines. Is it clear? Right. Now the project, children, if you would have been in school, we would have done it, because you need to discuss this in groups. So for the time being, we will drop it, so you don't have to worry about this project, though it's very interesting, but doesn't matter, we can omit it, right? So I hope you all had an idea about it. Now get going, start doing your work, complete it, and I'll be sending the solutions tomorrow in tomorrow's class, right? So goodbye then.